The London Gatwick airport has been disrupted by drones again. The authorities reopened the airport after around 90 minutes. Earlier, the Gatwick airport had been shut down for more than 1 day following the first drone sighting. Police believe that more than one unmanned aircraft has been used and are investigating the possibility of multiple culprits. The US government is heading for a partial shutdown as the funding for a range of federal agencies is set to expire at midnight. The Republicans have approved funding for Donald Trump's border wall, but the bill now goes to the Senate where it has almost no chance of passing. Before meeting at the White House, Trump had tweeted and echoed Democrats now own the shutdown, despite having said last week that he would be proud to shut down the government over the issue of border security, and I'll be one to shut it down, he said. The Democrats will take control of the House in New Year. The Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has welcomed Trump's decision to withdraw US troops from Syria and said that Turkey would delay a military operation in the northeast Syria. On December 12, Turkey had announced that Turkey would start an offensive in northern Syria, even though the Pentagon has issued a stern warning to Ankara. Erdogan has long criticized American policy in Syria for backing the Syrian Kurdish YPG militia. Turkey regards the YPG as a terrorist group and an extension of the outlawed Kurdistan Workers' Party. White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders has said that the idea that Russian President Vladimir Putin is happy about Trump's decision to pull troops from Syria is ridiculous. Sanders believed that Trump's move has put Russia in a great risk because now Putin has to step up and do something great in the region. Trump had announced the withdrawal of US troops from Syria after claiming their victory over Islamic State and is now planning to pull out at least 5,000 troops in Afghanistan. Defense Secretary Gavin Williamson today has pledged that Britain will stand with Ukraine against Russian aggression after a Royal Navy ship was sent to beef up defense up in the Black Sea. The Defense Secretary said he had dispatched HMS Echo to the region to show Britain's solidarity with Kiev. Williamson was speaking as tensions in the area remain high after Russia seized 3 Ukrainian naval vessels and their crews in the Black Sea last month, accusing them of illegally entering its territorial waters. But Ukraine has denied the charges. At least 13 people have been killed and more than 10 people have been injured in a methane gas explosion at an eastern Czech coal mine. Blast happened 800 meters below the ground near the eastern town of Karviná, close to the Polish border. The search operations have been hampered due to fire and zero visibility. Czech Prime Minister Andrej Babis will be visiting the mine with his Polish counterpart. British Foreign Secretary Jeremy Hunt has released a statement about the innocence of the 2 journalists jailed in Myanmar. Journalist was WION and Kyo have been jailed for the charges of breaking the country's Official Secrets Act and were found guilty in September after trial at a Yangon district court. A sign of the level of concern, Britain's foreign policy chief took the unusual step of recording a short video to show his support for the jailed journalists. One person has been killed and another has been injured in a shooting outside a popular restaurant in central Vienna on Friday. The police have said that the incident was not terrorism related. A manhunt is underway across the historic center of the Austrian capital after the shooting in an alleyway that houses popular places for tourists. The Israeli military has begun sealing off 4 tunnels and said were dug by the Lebanese armed group Hezbollah under the Israel-Lebanon border. The work is being carried out on the Israeli side of the border, known as the Blue Line. Israel says Hezbollah dug the tunnels to launch cross-border attacks with backing from Iran. UN peacekeepers in Lebanon have also confirmed the existence of 4 tunnels which the Israeli army discovered in recent weeks. Hezbollah is yet to comment on the issue. A Palestinian teenager has been shot dead by the Israeli forces at the Gaza Strip during the latest protests along the Israel border. Around 8,000 Palestinians gathered near the border fence, burned tires and tried to throw an explosive device into Israel, though it did not land across the border. A 16-year-old Muhammad Jaju was fatally shot in the neck, while 25 others, including a local journalist, were wounded by Israeli gunfire. Thousands of pro-independence protesters took to the streets to protest against the Spanish cabinet holding a meeting on Catalonia. The protesters blocked roads and clashed with anti-riot police in Barcelona. A dozen protesters were arrested and scores were injured during the clashes. Spain's centre-left government announced a series of gestures, including steps to reverse the conviction of a Catalan president executed in 1940 and infrastructure works for the northeastern region, along with the highest increase in the minimum wage in 4 decades. Large waves have battered the Cuban capital of Havana, causing inland flooding. Waves crashed over Havana's Malecam Sea and wall, sending seawater into city streets. Residents have started moving away from the low-lying areas and wait for the flood water to recede. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi attended a gala in New Delhi, accompanied by his Indian counterpart Sushma Swaraj. The gala event included a book launch, India-China Film Festival, and launch and cultural performances as well. Earlier in the day, Yi and Swaraj signed a list of pillars to boost cultural ties and people-to-people exchange between the 2 countries. Wang Yi is on a 4-day visit to India, where he is scheduled to visit Western Aurangabad and Mumbai. A group of exiled Tibetans gathered to protest outside Indian Foreign Ministry's Expatriate Indian Center in New Delhi, where the Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi was attending a cultural program. About a dozen young and angry Tibetans sat on the roads, making a protest change, waving banners and raising anti-China and Free Tibet slogans. The protesters were then taken away by the police in jeeps while sloganeering. At least since 2009, at least 121 Tibetans have set themselves on fire in protest against Beijing's policies in Tibet and nearby regions. Britain holds a memorial service to remember the Lockerbie bombing 30 years ago. A US airline exploded over the Scottish town of killing 270 people. The Pan-American flight blew up on December 21st. 1988 on its way from London to New York after a bomb stored in a suitcase in the hold was detonated. Wreaths were laid in the town's memorial garden with pictures of the victims in the attack. German police have stepped up security during the holiday season as the Christmas market truck attack in Berlin 2 years ago remains fresh in minds of the local residents. Inside the market, efforts have been made to keep a sense of Christmas spirit up for visitors. The Christmas market is now surrounded by a ring of reinforced steel designed to protect people. Local police are working hard to balance the need for a police presence while also maintaining a festive and joyous atmosphere. An inventor from southern France has developed a machine that breaks down plastic into a liquid that can be used as fuel. The machine creates a fuel by feeding bits of plastic into a 450 degrees Celsius reactor. and churns out liquid that can be used for generators or boat motors. The makers say that the machine will especially be useful in developing countries where waste management and fuel supply is fraught with difficulties.
Pour le filtrer maintenant.
Many of the historic Siberian bells fell silent in the beginning of the 20th century due to the destruction of Russian Orthodox churches during Soviet era. A project named Restore Voice to the Bell aims to use new technology for restoration. Now these ancient bells are being remade with the help of 3D scanning technology and digital reproduction. 22 destroyed bells will be reproduced by the end of summer 2019. Germany's Martin Noerl won the first FIS snowboard cross race of the season, beating Italian Omar Vicentin into second place in the women's event. 2006 Olympic silver medalist Lindsay Jacobellis of the US took an early lead and held off Czech Republic's Eva Samkova and Britain's Charlotte all the way to the finish. The start of the season has been delayed after a lack of snow across Europe earlier in December.
Attenzione, attenzione sul traguardo, correre il record, ma visiti l'Italia nel secondo piano di Italia.
French sailor Jean-Jacques Savin is eager to test a new way of crossing the Atlantic Ocean on a wooden barrel without any engine. Sail or paddle, Savin is set to prove a theory established by French doctor and adventurer Alain Bombard in 1952, stating a journey across the Atlantic without any technical help is possible. His departure is scheduled on Tuesday from the Canary Islands, as Savin predicts his journey will last till March. Savin's plan is to let the barrel drift towards the Caribbean thanks to trade winds and currents. Snowfall in the French Alps brings the Christmas joy as ski resorts are now open just in time for the Christmas holidays. "13 tons of dead fish were found floating in the water of a lagoon in Rio de Janeiro. The neighborhood of Rodrigo de Freitas is one of the city's picture postcard locations. Biologists believe that extreme heat is the reason behind the fish die-offs. Even before the first official day of summer, the temperatures in the city have risen above 40 degrees Celsius.
Fiquei chocada, sempre corro aqui de manhã cedo, nunca tinha visto. Primeiro chamou a atenção os pássaros, aí depois eu cheguei perto e vi que foram os peixes e conforme conversando.
The world's only known albino orangutan has been released back into the jungle of Indonesia a year after she was found emaciated and bloody in a remote corner of Borneo. The blue-eyed primate covered in fuzzy white hair was on return to the wild with her best friend Kika after leaving their rehabilitation center. Orangutans, considered critically endangered by the World Wildlife Fund, usually have brown or orange hair and dark eyes. They're native to Indonesia and Malaysia.